G'day battlers, today we're going to be covering my run through the 2025 Clash of the Casters tournament, where I was able to finish in 9th out of a field of 32 commentators from all around the world. Now, if you don't know what the Clash of the Casters is, I'll pull up the graphic now, but essentially I invited everyone that casted an official 2025 Play Pokemon tournament this season from all around the world, Latin America, Oceania, North America, and Europe, and put them all in one Open Great League tournament as a bit of a preview of the World Championships meta, I suppose. This does have these sort of clanging scales Jangmo-o, which we will see one of today. But essentially, with all of the commentators competing in this tournament, I thought it would be cool to have the competitors become the casters. And so we had the Week 1 broadcast, which is going to be linked in the description down below. It's over on the PvP Steve YouTube channel with Its Accent, Dancing Rob, and Emmy Weedle, 3 of the Play Pokemon World Champions, casting that one. And this weekend, and actually I'll drag the graphic up a little bit, at 2 p.m. ET or 6 p.m. UTC on Sunday, the 13th of July, there will be the second, the Week 2 stream with the finals, the top cut, the day 2, with Its Accent returning alongside Doonbug97 and Marto Galde. So it's going to be a really cool stream, and definitely tune in if you, I guess also if you're watching this late, the VOD will be uploaded to the PvP Steve YouTube channel as well, so you can go back and watch all of that there, because there's definitely some very cool games. And actually, my first round was in that very first live stream, where I was able to defeat 2-0 Butters in my very first round. And so today we're going to be covering my rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5, going through this tournament, where you can see in the bottom right hand corner, I'm just using the same team that I used at NAIC, which is the team stolen from Eomero and Ashton Ash, that they were sort of running as well. Ashton Ash didn't have the Shadow Sableye, but that's just because he didn't have a Shadow Sableye. And so my round 2 opponent is NiteTimeClasher. We all know him, the Liverpool regional champion from probably 2 years ago now, but he is running a Fortress Shadow Whiscash team, which is kind of baffling, but we won't go too deep into the analysis today. I will just sort of get into the battles. Because really, this is just a bit of a showcase of some different teams, some players that maybe you don't see play too often. Now, straight away, game number 1, I had a pretty bad lead with Credilli into the Fortress. I was really predicting that it was going to be the Lapras in the lead, and unfortunately, it wasn't quite right on that one. So I ended up swapping out into the Diggersby, and here comes the Lapras to answer it. And so, Diggersby, I'm actually not too upset about this scenario. We tank one Sparkling Aria, and you can see I was tapping on the Scorching Sands there, but I looked at the footage. I missed the button by the tiniest margin, and so I decided to just let it go instead of burning a shield, because I didn't want to burn a shield in that matchup, right? I didn't want to go to a shield deficit, and so a little bit of an oopsie here. I wanted to get the Scorching Sands off, because then we would have been in a spot where we wouldn't have been too bad a position. This Credilli probably could have won the matchup with a little bit more health, because now I just have Goliathpod up against a full health Fortress and a Pokemon in the back that I don't even know, and quite frankly, I think this Fortress might be able to do a job on me. To be honest with you, I don't really respect Fortress a lot in the current meta. I feel like I'm a bit of a Fortress hater. It's just so slow to get to its charge moves, but when you only have your, one Pokemon to take down, you can fast move all the way down with 2 shields, and Credilli just not going to be able to do anything here. So, bit of a bad start, but game number 2, I thought that he was going to change lead. He did not. And so, we play out the same way at the start here. We're going to go straight for that Scorching Sands again. I don't quite get it off here, and I'm sort of thinking, look, there's a 30% chance that Scorching Sands gets the attack debuff, and so maybe it's worth sort of preserving Diggersby on that first one, just in case. And we do actually get the attack debuff. Now, I don't actually know exactly how this matchup goes post debuff, and so we go for another one, don't get the debuff on this one, and I'm sort of like, I can definitely survive a Sparkling Aria here. And so the question sort of just becomes, do I want to win switch advantage? And I end up swapping out into Credilli because I felt like they were going to get another move off, and so I think he's banked a move on that Lapras, and now swapping out into the Fortress, where again, we're in a great spot with Credilli, but we do, obviously NiteTimeClasher counts quite well. He's able to throw the Rock Tomb just as I'm about to get to my next move, and it was a charge attack priority tie as well. So he does, just eat that on the chin, it farms me down, and now I sort of have a bit of a call to make of what is going to be in the back. I decided to bring in Diggersby and just throw the Fire Punch before Fortress can get to another move, and sort of figure that Goliathpod can sort of eat this Sparkling Aria from the Lapras and then just farm down and hope that I can beat whatever's in the back. Turns out it is the Mandibuzz, which it is an Air/Mandibuzz, and so 2 shields, Air/Mandibuzz, I'm just not going to be able to get through it. If it was Snarl, maybe we would have had a little bit more play, but we're keeping a shield for nothing because that fast move pressure is going to be enough, unfortunately. So I think game 3, we're going to have to sort of change our tact a little bit. And so I decide, first we're going to have to lose our Diggersby, and we don't even shield. We know what's up. So game 3, I'm like, okay, Let's just not rank really in the lead. Let's go Dusclops in there. Decent into Lapras, decent into Fortress. He actually does call that I'm going to swap out from the Credilli lead and brings in Lapras instead, which is a nice read from NiteTimeClasher's end. But instead, I'm just going like, okay, Dusclops isn't the worst in this matchup. I'm not too unhappy about being here. So I'm just going to sort of play it out. I've got the Credilli and Diggersby in the back as well. Credilli, I really just felt like I needed it in case that Whiscash appeared, because otherwise I was it felt a little bit too awkward. Now, I wasn't really feeling like it was likely to come, but I just felt like it was sort of necessary enough that it was nice to have Credilli for both of the waters and also Mandibuzz as well. But as we get into the end of this matchup, we are down a shield, and now I'm sort of going like, do I actually want to win Switch here? And I sort of decide, yes, I think I want Switch advantage. I want to make sure that my Diggersby lands on his Fortress. That's sort of my play here. In comes Fortress, and I'm like, okay, he is up 2 shields, which is a lot of shields. Fortress, I think, does win the sort of straight 2-0 shield here, but I'm not expecting him to stay around. He swaps into the Mandibuzz. We quick swap into Credilli. Originally, I was sort of thinking that I might stick around and farm, but then I don't want to get too behind on this Credilli, and I also want to make sure I can get the attack debuff in before Eric can sort of land those charge attacks. And so we just did a foul play here. We got one Rock Tomb of attack debuff in as well, which is pretty nice. And so we're going to try and recover the third game in this one, because we sort of want to do as well as we can, obviously. Every battle counts. They let the Mandibuzz go, and now it is 2 shield Fortress up against me. And so I try and get to that attack debuff, and he just throws the move. This does mean that sort of if I instant swapped, he would have had a little bit more energy. And so I sort of made him spend some energy by rejecting my Rock Tomb. Now I'm in a bit of a pickle, because I'm going to need to land 2 Fire Punches, and I can't get to 3 Fire Punches to burn the shield and land 2 before he can take me out. And so I realize that I'm going to need drastic measures. He goes for the Sand Tomb, gets the defense debuff, and I only have one play. I need the Scorching Sands debuff to proc here, and the 30% chance comes up big, and I need to survive this move. It's charge attack priority. I just need to survive this charge attack, and thanks to the attack debuff, I get the Fire Punch, get the KO on Fortress, and it is GG's. Really came down to the wire there, and the time actually came up as well. Obviously, we needed Eric to sort of let the Fire Punch through as well. Really worked out nicely for us that he did sort of use that shield I guess didn't shield the first Fire Punch and shielded the second one, where he had to shield the second one. I mean, it would have been bonkers to not shield the second one. And so we were able to get the Scorching Sands debuff and close out a 1-2 against NiteTimeClasher, which does mean we're going into round number 3 against TomahawkUK, his, I guess, Liverpool Grand Final competitor. And co-caster quite often as well over in the European circuit. But Tomahawk was running a very odd team with, Galarian Moltres isn't odd, but he had Runerigus taken from Arceus Aurelius from NAIC, and he is the only battler in this entire tournament running Klangmo-O. Klangmo-O. Well, I actually like that name, to be honest with you, Klangmo-O. Unfortunately, I was pretty sure that Klangmo-O was not going to come to this particular game. I wasn't really prepping for it. I was really just more thinking about that Galarian Moltres. And a Scizor a little bit as well. They were sort of the 2 Pokemon I was most threatened by, and the Lapras in the lead. And so we were sort of going for that with the Sableye. So he swaps out into the Galarian Moltres, and we decide to go for the Power Gem here to just try and nab a shield, and then just quick swap into the Golisopod. Now, Golisopod, this matchup came up a lot at the North American International Championships, where if you can sort of in the lead matchup without energy advantage, if you throw one move and it lands, then you can actually just Fury Cutter all the way down and just burn 1 shield, which is kind of a crazy matchup. Obviously, this time around, we sort of gave Moltres a lot of energy, so it's not as good for us as it might have been otherwise. And so he gets a little bit of energy on there and tries to catch the move into Lapras. I mean, we're going to throw the move anyway, to be fair. But then we're going to swap back into the Sableye. Shields are down. I thought that maybe I could just barely squeeze in the foul play, but unfortunately he does get the Sparkling Aria through. I swapped a little bit too late. Maybe if I instant swaps, we would have got that. But in comes the Diggersby instead. I just figure that I kind of want to keep that Golisopod around, was sort of my read. Because I was like, again, I was thinking that Scizor might be a bit of a threat, and maybe I would want energy advantage rather than letting them get an energy advantage. I don't really know what I was thinking. It doesn't make a lot of sense, because now I've just sacrificed my Diggersby. If that Scizor was sort of hanging out in the back, then I'd be in a lot of trouble. And so I always thought I could Fury Cutter down there, unfortunately. Game 1 doesn't quite work out in our favor, so again, we're going to have to try and pull back the 2-1. We haven't lost yet. Come on now. We've got the Sableye into the Scizor. Not the best lead, but again, it's sort of a Pokemon that I was so scared of. I didn't want to just bring the hard Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz isn't even a hard counter. I felt like I was a little bit stuck against Scizor in a lot of ways, and so I swapped into the Golisopod to catch the move, just so I could try and get another charge move there. I don't know if there was a catch from Tomahawk there. Oh, no. don't know. He's sort of down 2 shields. He's able to bullet punch us all the way down, and I'm just too weak to Scizor, to be honest with you. I've given him a ton of energy as well. He's already boosted. I'm shielding up here just because I know that if I let it go down, then Credilli is like definitely toast, and so at least I can sort of get the simultaneous KO here. And now I need a Credilli with 1 shield up to take down whatever Fareed has in the back. It is the Moltres, and I'm sort of going, wait, do we have a chance here? So we go for the Rock Tomb, we get the attack debuff here. It's going to bring that Moltres' attack right down, and now I'm like, okay, if I shield, I feel like I can't acid down. I'm going to need to throw another move. But he goes to the Brave Bird, and I'm like, what? Oh, and it's Lapras in the back as well. So I was like, oh, it's good into both Pokemon, but I don't think I can win. I need a little bit more HP in the bank. Sparkling Aria is going to take me too low, and even if I get to another move here, actually goes for the Ice Beam, takes me out. So we need the Game 3 recovery again. Mandibuzz, this time going into the Galarian Moltres. Now that's not running Ancient Power, this is a much better matchup for us than it used to be, especially because we're running Air Slash, and so we can get a lot of damage onto this Galarian Moltres. We've already got it into the yellow, and then we swap into Gliscod, which may look like a little bit of a weird move on the surface, but I was sort of just like, I decided I want to keep Mandibuzz for Scizor later on, and so I sort of figure he's going to use up all of his energy here. And so we burn both shields, and it's actually Annihilate in the back, which isn't a Pokemon I was expecting, but I suppose he was really just going for the Diggersby counter, which does make me think that the Scizor is going to be in the back. And so that's sort of what I'm running with. The guess, I suppose. And so we swap back into Mandibuzz. We're able to get the Air Slash down, which is really nice for us. Apparently, I think Fareed, at some point in this battle, he actually told me he sort of lost track of the energy on the Mandibuzz. And so we go for the Undercharge, just because I sort of expected that Scizor might be around the corner. Wanted to get a little bit more farm, but here's the Scizor now. Get the Aerial Ace through. And I think this is the moment that he sort of lost track of the Mandibuzz. Aerial Ace, going to get another shield out, swap into the Gliscod for the combo play. This Aqua Jet is going to be enough to KO the Scizor, and then it's just going to be that Galarian Moltres in the back. We can't quite Fury Cutter down, but we have a full health Credilli in the back, and so we're able to sort of, whoa, we're getting right into this game. We're actually going to be going up against House Stark in round number 4. And so look, I've sort of laid out the puzzle pieces in front of you. It's a case where I told you that I came 9th in this tournament out of 32, and I'm currently 1-2 in the tournament. I must pull out some pretty crazy stuff in these last 2 rounds. And so let's take a little bit of a look together. I guess this is a preview of the stream that is coming this weekend. So again, definitely tune in. But I got up against House Stark. He's running a variant of its Axon's team that he was running to win the North American International Championships, just with the Araquanid swapped out for a Shadow Jumpluff instead. Little recording issue, but we're back. Let's jump into the battles against House Stark. Game number 1, we get a Diggersby into Dusclops lead, which this isn't like a good spot for Diggersby if you just play this matchup out. But if you sort of look at my back line, I don't really, I've got a hard answer in Sableye, and Credilli isn't that good here either. So I'm a little bit ABA weak, and so I sort of figure I'll actually play this matchup out a little bit, because as much as it's a losing matchup if we play it out, it's a little bit neutral in that we can soak quite a few charge attacks first, and so we sort of bank a Fire Punch after landing that Scorching Sands and then swap into the Sableye. We're hoping to land the Power Gem here so that we can potentially even win Switch here, and we actually do get to land it. And so all of a sudden I'm like, okay, well, we kind of want to avoid the Diggersby into, man, I'm completely blanking on Pokemon here, the Diggersby into Dusclops matchup again, and so I actually burned both shields, which might be a little bit ill-advised. I don't think it was the best play on my end, but we'll play it out regardless, because we are just going to straight throw the foul play into the Dedenne, and now I'm like, okay, we've got a bunch of energy on this Diggersby, so we can at least force a shield out of this Dedenne here. We do see the swap back into the Dusclops, and I actually felt like this was sort of a pretty good play on my end, because in my head, I've got a Credilli in the back that is still going to be able to handle that Dedenne as long as it doesn't have too much energy. And so by swapping straight into the Diggersby, I'm sort of baiting the Dusclops back out so that, House Stark decides like, oh, I want to win this neutral matchup. And it's sort of just giving me a little bit of, room to beat that Credilli in the back, especially if he isn't predicting the Credilli. And so we see the Dedenne swap back in, we swap into the Credilli, and at this point, I can definitely tank one move. There is, no debuffs in play. And so now I'm kind of just hoping that after this Rock Tomb, I'm going to be able to tank another one, which I think I should be able to, because the Thunder Shocks are really doing absolutely nothing, which is quite good for us. I just need to tank this move on the chin, and I can, thanks to the debuff. We acid all the way down, and I'm going to throw the Rock Tomb, and this is going to be enough. We still had a charge move in the back, right? Just in case charge attack priority. And so we actually take a game number 1 against House Stark, which I was feeling pretty good at the time, to be honest with you. Game number 2, we have another pretty bad lead with Credilli into the Drapion. And I try and catch a move into Dusclops. Again, I was like ABA weak to Drapion, which isn't really where you want to be. And so I'm kind of just like, I was trying to make something happen. Now, if you swap straight into Dusclops instead of sort of waiting or charging up energy like I did, you can be a little bit more competitive in this matchup. And you can sometimes even get switch advantage. But not only does he sort of just, do a lot of damage to me before I can even try, but he's also caught the Ice Punch into his Dusclops. We're able to get a lot of energy on this Dusclops, and we actually get another Shadow Punch though. So we do at least get shield parity, and now this Dusclops is a lot weaker. And so I'm just going to bank on my Diggersby being the guy to figure things out in the back. If it's the Dene, then that's sort of like my best. I'm going to prefer to rely on a Diggersby that has to lose a little bit of health before the Dedenne matchup rather than relying on Credilli with a little bit less health. And so that's sort of what I'm banking on. Plus, it's got some play into the Drapion, and so I'm not too unhappy with leaning onto my Diggersby. We do have a move banked on that Credilli as well. Maybe I should have thrown it here. I'm not too sure. But we eat another Aqua Tail. It tries to catch the Scorching Sands into Jumpluff, but we were actually throwing the Fire Punch bait, so Jumpluff does have to eat it. But with Jumpluff being in the back, Credilli's charge move in the back, it could be useful, but we need a lot of Fire Punches here. This is an Aerial Ace Acrobatics Jumpluff as well. No Energy Ball, but Acrobatics is still going to do a lot. Doesn't quite KO me, and I'm still going to get another Fire Punch through. So we're actually getting this pretty low, but we still have to deal with that Dusclops in the back as well, and Housedark still has a shield. So we swap to throw the Rock Tomb first to get the Drapion. But like, he had so much energy. I think maybe we're trying to catch the move, and then maybe we'd get something done, but it just doesn't work out. And so we're going 1-1 into game number 3. We get a much better lead here with Dusclops into Lapras. I'm actually quite happy to be here. You can see that we still have the Diggersby in the back, but we've actually swapped into Mandibuzz in case that Jumpluff does appear, and it's also going to be quite good into the Dusclops or the Drapion. Even Diggersby, to be honest with you, I'm just sort of hoping to avoid Dedenne, and so I would like to avoid hard swapping into my Mandibuzz when he did bring Dedenne in that game number 1. And so we're really going to play this matchup out a little bit. We're going to burn the shield here, go for another Shadow Punch. I would like to win switch because I think that the fact that Housedark is willing to bring to Dedenne means that he might go for some RPSable strategies. And so we're going to, again, go for another Shadow Punch, take down the Lapras, down a shield, but now we see the Jumpluff coming out. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Now, as much as Mandibuzz can lose to Jumpluff in some scenarios, depending on how the charge moves and shields go, I'm pretty happy being here because, again, we shield the Acrobatics, actually, going down a shield because we do not want to lose this matchup. We want to make sure that we are RPSing all the way through in game number 3, really, really hoping for that Dedenne in the back. And so here comes another Acrobatics, take us down into the yellow. Waiting for a swap at some point. I decided to swap to get some energy advantage because, if it's Drapion, we want some energy advantage first. And actually is the Drapion. And so I'm very happy that I got the energy because now I'm going to be able to go for the Scorching Sands. He tries to call the move, which does not work out for him at all. Brings it down really low. I go for a Fire Punch here because I sort of decide that I don't want to just get... I sort of figured that maybe I could get a total of 3 charge stacks, which is sort of worthwhile when they've got 2 shields. And so here comes the Mandibuzz, and we actually just get the farm down, and we actually beat Housedark in round number 4, which I was pretty stoked about. Like, I definitely thought that was a sort of a hard set losing matchup, but I'm pretty happy with how those sets went, which does mean that I'm 2-2 going to the final round against my BattleCatz podcast co-host, CalebPeng. I guess link to the podcast in the description. But he's just running the straight It's Axon team. So I just played this team, with one tiny change, and it sort of doesn't change too much for me, in that like Jumpluff and Araquanid are both good for me for Mandibuzz, and Diggersby doesn't really love them in the grand scheme of things, and so I didn't think it was too bad. Credilli also, still has some play. Gliscod has some play. Dusclops maybe, it's probably a little worse into Araquanid than it is Jumpluff. But into Caleb's team, again, you'll see some pretty similar Pokemon robbing their head. We've got the Dusclops in the lead, and we actually called the Araquanid lead, which is sort of what we were looking for. Swap to the Drapion, and this is another weird play on my end. I decided to farm up to the Ice Punch first before swapping into Diggersby. But that just makes this a much worse matchup for the Diggersby. I'm sort of really relying on getting some sort of bait call or Scorching Sands through in this matchup now, which I would have preferred to not be in. So I go for the Fire Punch, and I do get a shield out of Caleb. And so at this point, I guess we're just going to go straight Fire Punch. This isn't even a bait. It's just like, okay, well, we need to get some damage on here. So we get the second shield out of Caleb. And at this point, I'm like, okay, He really wants to keep this Drapion around. I guess he does know that I've got a Dusclops, and so Drapion's going to be quite good there. And so obviously we're going to swap into the Golisopod. And at this point, we can start burning our own shields. Or not. We're just going to let the crunch go through, apparently, and just leave it for Dusclops, maybe. But in comes the Araquanid back, and so now we're going to go in for the Dusclops. At this point, like if you just sort of put a Dusclops head-to-head with an Araquanid, generally you are going to win out as the Dusclops, but you do sort of have some weird shenanigans going on with the Bubble Beam and the Water Pulse. This is actually something we talk about on this, I guess, coming episode of the BattleCatz podcast, the sort of awkwardness of sort of running the Bubble Beam Water Pulse moveset, when you want to use Water Pulse, when you want to use Bubble Beam, but he swaps back in for the combo play, but we kept a shield just for this scenario, and so we're going to go for a combo play of our own, go for the Aqua Tail to take out the Drapion. In comes the Araquanid, and we don't quite get to the move. We have a Shadow Punch on our Dusclops, though. We're going to be able to take out the Araquanid, go into the Pokemon in the back, which is going to be the Diggersby, which would be a really good matchup if this was a straight head-to-head matchup. The question becomes, do we have enough health to take it out? And I'm a little bit worried the answer might be no here. We do have a shield advantage, which is nice. So we shield up the Scorching Sands, which is really good for us, but I just don't think it's quite going to be enough. Even though we've come quite close, I think we just swapped out too slow into the Dusclops at the very beginning of the game. And so we get another Ice Punch here. We're going to get close. It's so low. We only need one more Ice Punch. And unfortunately, we're not going to get there. This Scorching Sand is going to take us out in game number 1. So we're going to game number 2. We've got the Dusclops lead again into the Araquanid. This time, instant swap. We're going straight in for the Diggersby. We actually go for the Scorching Sands here, hoping that it maybe lands through like it did against House Stark a bit earlier. Turns out it didn't actually fire, but you know, that is what it is. And so now we're going to go for the Scorching Sands. It would have been nice to, I guess, try and get the attack debuff before that previous Aqua Tail, and no debuff, so I guess it didn't matter at the end of the day. But we're going to get the Fire Punch off anyway. No shield from Caleb on that one, which sort of, I think is the smart play. But now we sort of we're like, well, let's win switch. Let's just RPS this thing. And so we go for the Fire Punch, Charge Attack priority. And so now we just, we shield up. We obviously would have preferred to not burn this energy, but it is what it is. We're just going to go for it now. Actually, we get the shield out of Caleb, which I wasn't expecting. He's fighting for switch now. And so now I'm actually like, hang on a minute. This is actually quite good for us, because if I bring Cordelia in here, I get the farm down, I have the energy advantage into the Araquanid that's going to swap in anyway. I'm going to definitely get the Rock Tomb off, and with Drapion out of the way, there's not really a hard counter to Dusclops in the back, and so I swap out. He actually caught the Rock Tomb into the Diggersby, which is nice in that, like, we're at least debuffing the guy, so we sort of have a really good matchup here anyway, but it's obviously, we would have preferred to land it on Araquanid. But I'm actually feeling quite good in this matchup because, again, we win the head-to-head here. As long as we don't get like an Ice Punch caught onto the Araquanid, which, he just swaps straight in, so not a scenario that's going to play out. We're not in too bad a spot. Because, Dusclops good into both of these matchups. And Cordelia is, I guess, the Pokemon we have to think about how we want to use it. Do we want to use it to soak up energy? Do we want to use it to maybe clear some Bubble Beam debuffs that might come through? Because we are getting quite low. He goes for the Water Pulse as well, which brings us really low. And now I'm very cognizant of the fact that I don't want to get locked in a matchup where I might get Bubble Beamed down. Luckily for us, though, he swaps. And so we swap out into Cordelia, going to eat all of this energy from the Diggersby. And I'm very happy to see this. And so now we're just going to go straight for the Grass Knot, KO the Diggersby, I think we're pretty confident that we can just fast move down the Araquanid between either of our two Pokemon. You can see the timer actually popping up as well, and so there's potential for the timeout strats to come up here. Goes for the Bubble Beam, 3 seconds on the clock, 2 seconds, and we throw the Shadow Punch. No timeouts required because this is going to get the KO, tying the series up 1-1. And so game number 3, we go into the Mandibuzz. I was actually predicting the Drapion lead swap, but I just knew that Mandibuzz would be good even if he kept the Araquanid in, and so it sort of worked out fine either way. Swaps into the Diggersby, we swap into the Cordelia, and again, we're in a pretty decent position here. We go straight for the Grass Knot, no Rock Tomb, and he does shield it, so nice call from Caleb on that one. And so now we're just going to let this play out a little bit. We shield up the Scorching Sands. We do sort of want to win, because we're in a very RPS scenario, I just decide that I want to win switch. And so we go for the next Grass Knot. We get another shield from Caleb on that one, and I think we're just going to shield again. And it's another Scorching Sands, and so, he tries to catch a move, which I guess I predicted there, which is, quite nice on my end. But we end up swapping into the Mandibuzz, banking that move on the Cordelia. And now we're just going to be able to win this matchup against the Drapion. I suppose if you get the Crunch debuff, then maybe it becomes a lot closer, but he's just going to go for Aqua Tail. I don't really know what the winning play is for the Drapion in this matchup, I guess, but as it stands, we're in a pretty decent position because we're gonna get the Air Slash off here, take that Drapion right out of things, and it's actually Lapras in the back, which I wasn't predicting, but I hard swap into the Sableye, and now I've got a Lapras and a Diggersby to deal with here. And so my Sableye's already locked in. Credilli in the back, if I can get a charge move onto the Lapras, will be quite decent, but I'd really love to somehow work my way through this Diggersby so I can get a little bit more energy onto that Lapras in the form of damage. We don't quite get the KO, and so now I'm like, okay, I need a move from my Credilli to land onto that Lapras, and so I'm going to go for the Credilli farm down here, get a little bit of energy, extra energy in my Credilli. First Rock Tomb, going to go through and bring this Lapras down to about half health, and now we get to one last Rock Tomb. Going to seal the deal, get the 2-1 against Caleb, which, again, not a matchup I thought I was planning to. Oh, actually, I didn't need to do that. I knew that he didn't have energy. I just wanted to style on him and throw the Mandibuzz in, but that does mean that we actually secure the 3-2 result in the Clash of the Casters, which does put me into 9th place. Unfortunately, just outside of the 8th place, that top 8, I guess line that I cannot now use, but still really happy with the games. But importantly, that does sort of set us up for the Clash of the Casters stream this weekend, where not only are we going to be seeing the top 4 play out from the week 1, which I won't spoil here, just in case this is the first you're hearing about the Clash of the Casters. Go back, watch the week 1 VOD. It is in the description down below over on the PvP Steve channel. Watch it back, see who the top 4 are going into the week 2 stream, and we're going to be watching a lot more matches as well. None of these matchups, obviously, because, I mean, spoilers, but some really cool matchups and with some really cool commentators for the event as well. So with that said, again, that is, I clicked on I clicked on the Championship Series logo. I meant to click on this guy. 2 p.m. ET, 6 p.m. UTC on Sunday, the 13th of July. That is going to be 4 a.m. on the Monday in my time zone, in Australian Eastern Standard Time. So not really one for the Aussies, but hey, I'll be there, I'll be awake to run the stream over on twitch.tv/PvPsteve7. So hopefully see you there. Thanks to all of my opponents, and a massive thank you to all of the commentators for competing, because I just think this is a very cool tournament, and I look forward to sort of similar things happening in the future. And so yeah, see you in that one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this second channel, this PvP Josh channel as well. And yeah, okay, bye.